nothing more satisfying than the way the Zenith Z5 RS suppresses, especially with that Hush subsonic ammunition from Freedom Munitions. One of my favorite guns. I've had it for years, haven't talked about it yet on the channel. The Zenith Z5 RS. The sexiest of the sexy guns, at least in my opinion. The MP5, or in this case, the Zenith Z5 RS. Bought this gun for myself as a getting out of the army gift 3 years ago. Have thousands of rounds through it, and realized I hadn't really put it on camera yet for you. So, today we'll take a look at the Z5 RS. So to start off, this is not quite how they come from Zenith, at least not how they came from Zenith when I bought mine. I put the triangular handguard on there for the more classic looks, and of course the SB Tactical side folding brace, which follows the, really difficult to do on camera, there we go, follows the classic lines of the MP5 stock. But other than that, I've had this gun running hard for 2 or 3 years. I put 2,000 rounds suppressed and 1,000 rounds unsuppressed through it before the first time I had to clean it. And that's because I thought I had some type of terrible, terrible failure. Yes, the Z5 RS is so cool that even my cat likes it. She confirmed. Anyways, so when I had this, what I thought was a catastrophic failure, the gun would chamber just fine, and then you'd pull the trigger, you'd get kind of a soft click sound, it wouldn't go off. You rack it, kick out that old shell, pick up a new one. The old shell had no firing pin indentation on the primer. This led me to believe that maybe I had somehow broken the firing pin on my gun. Very scared. These guns are not cheap. Took it apart to find that's a mangled up piece of brass down in the trigger mechanism. And it was an indoor range, and the best I could guess is somehow a piece of brass came out of this itty bitty ejection port, bounced off the wall, back in while the bolt was rearward without getting stopped by the magazine or the next round waiting to feed, and made its way down below. I have no idea how that happened. It was pretty weird, but I was glad that I could clear that quickly and get this gun back in service. So I'm showing it to you today simply because I haven't had it out on the channel, or really at all, since I've been doing YouTube. Which includes after the time that I started, that I own this gun. So I wanted to show it to you. I'm gonna have to knock this pin out to take it down, and my punches are in the other room at the moment. Let's see what we can do. So this rear pin punches out. It's not retained. Some of the original stocks had a place to stick them. So this brace, I suppose you could probably stick them in through these holes if you really wanted to and you're worried about losing it. The rear pin's really the only one that you take off on a civilian model. The front pin, it merely holds on the handguard, that's it. Once we have this out, the trigger group can pivot away. Sorry, forgot about this pin. It's been years since I've used this, by the way. So the shorter pin, also stick that in the brace. Now we can bring this trigger group away, and you can see the shower of carbon that just came out because I like to shoot this thing suppressed. I shoot it often and rarely clean it, but that form of endurance testing, the gun has proven quite reliable. Yeah, that's a lot of carbon. I bet this bolt's gonna be nasty. If you're not familiar with, more carbon coming out. If you're not familiar with suppressed firearms, especially when they're a blowback like this, that suppressor adds a little extra back pressure and doesn't let as much gas escape. You can see down in the chamber there, it is nasty. This gun needs some loving. So this is going to be a while worth of work. These are the rollers. This is how this roller delayed blowback works. These rollers roll out and expand into a section and sort of lock effectively until pressure is low enough for them to tuck back in. Then the bolt operates. That's part of what makes these things quieter than your standard blowback operation, and also helps, I believe, with a little bit of the recoil, because this bolt does not weigh nearly as much as the bolt of a standard blowback operated gun would. So less reciprocating mass means less shifting. You'll see that in the slow motion of just how smooth this thing is to shoot. What I'm going to show you is sort of an abbreviated what's for dinner test, and in it you'll see part of why I started doing what's for dinner tests in the first place. Because I bought this gun, I was very excited about it, loved it, still love it, but had some ammunition issues. So why don't you take a look at that footage, and I'll finish wiping this thing down, hopefully this year, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, so what's for dinner is going to be a little different with this guy, because as much as I've loved this gun, it has proven to be a little picky on snub nose rounds like this American Eagle 147 grain. Sometimes it just won't feed them. I'm going to run 3 rounds of each, just like all the other what's for dinner tests, and show you what it runs and what it doesn't run. See what kind of luck we have. That didn't chamber all the way. Nope, round went in sideways. Let's give it one more chance. Maybe. So, not 100% reliable. Next up, the American Eagle suppressor line, 124 grain subsonic. Now these are a rounded nose, so shouldn't have issues with it. Ran just fine. Federal's 115 grain aluminum case. See how the roller lock system likes that aluminum. Slight ejection issue right there on that last shot, so not quite 100%. Tool ammo, 115 grain steel case. Let's see if maybe steel runs better than the aluminum. No issues. Spirit Gold Dot 115 grain hollow points. These do have a snubby nose, of course, because they're hollow points. Let's see if they will feed. Got a misfeed on the 3rd round. Next up, the Heavy Shot 100 grain, 1200 feet per second. This is a long snub nose bullet. Probably zinc, I believe, is what they use to make that size with low weight. Not chambering. Give it one more shot. See how it goes. Nope, fail. Hornady's Critical Defense Light. This is 100 grain. I really am not expecting this one to run. They're really short rounds. But let's see. Surprising. Winchester Super Clean 90 grain. This is the zinc core full metal jacket. Safety round for indoor ranges, etc. Very snubby bullet. Huh? Two out of 3, the 3rd went vertical in there. The Inceptor 65 grain, really lightweight bullet, 100 grains lighter than that Hush that we were running in the beginning, but it is pointy, so hopefully it'll run. And it does.
So after I dealt with the avalanche of carbon, got this thing back to semi-respectable inside. Still not quite as clean as it probably should be. But I absolutely love this gun, minus some pickiness with the ammo that you saw there. Another point to be known, and this is kind of how this gun was designed in the first place, is as a sub gun. the trigger isn't what you would call crisp. So we have some take up and some creep, and then it breaks. Reset about there, more creep and breaking again. It's not terrible. It's gotten better over time, probably because this gun has seen a lot of rounds and gotten pretty well broken in. But love it. Love the MP5 style magazines. They're very easy to load, very easy to insert. I've used both the MKE magazines from Turkey and the KCI magazines without any issues interchangeably. Another point is, you might notice the magazine release push button style here is a bit of a reach, even for my Neanderthal banana hands. It's too far. That's because that wasn't really meant to be used. The correct way of doing it is to come up, thumb here, grab, and pull down. And that, of course, leaves you with an empty magazine in the hand. That's because the German manual of arms was to retain your magazines, not just toss them or dump them. So that's something you kind of got to get used to, but it's still a really, really fun gun to shoot. I'm sure many of you have fired either a full auto or one of these clones from MKE brought in through Zenith Arms. If you have, please share your stories in the comments below, because I just think it's a great gun. When I was instructing, I actually used this gun quite often with new shooters. And of course they would, once they got done wetting themselves after seeing a scary MP5 looking thing, came to really appreciate shooting through this gun because the recoil is so soft. And with a can on it and subsonic ammo, it's absurdly quiet, as you saw in the video. It sounds like a staple gun. That's about it. That was with the Freedom Munitions Hush ammunition. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts and experiences are on these guns. They are not cheap. At least the Zenith ones aren't. But 3 years later, I don't regret this purchase at all. Thanks for watching.